Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm Richard Yaden, the CEO of MMS Group, and we're going to do our short live broadcast here with our special guest, Mike O'Neill. Hope you've got 30 minutes you can set aside to watch this. This is going to be a very fast-paced, very interesting, very hard-hitting type of presentation with information that you can use. It's information that I know you can put into practical use as soon as this is over, and we're going to have some goodies, some giveaways for you as well. Let me tell you about. I decided I wanted to do this broadcast. You know, I hear from sales leaders all the time. I hear from CEOs all the time. I hear from HR teams all the time. How frustrated that they get with the message that, or the mixed message that their people sometimes project into the marketplace. It's not willful. They're not trying to do a bad job, but with so many different ways to communicate with the marketplace now, especially through social media, it just is very tough to kind of get everybody on the same page. And this is especially true with LinkedIn. And it's especially important with LinkedIn because where does everybody go when they want to learn about an individual in business or they want to learn about a company? Everybody goes to LinkedIn. And if you're sending the wrong message over and over and over, then it's very difficult for you to control that message and that brand. So I thought it was a good idea to have Mike O'Neill. Mike is with Integrated Alliances. He is an expert in the specialty of sending the right message on LinkedIn and much, much more, as you'll learn. We're going to talk with Mike here for the next 30 minutes about how to get this under control, about how to corral all of these different messages and turn your team into LinkedIn brand ambassadors. So, Mike, say hello to everybody.
Hi, everyone. How you doing? I'm cranking today. I've got my Mountain Dew. I'm all cranked up for you to share some stuff that, frankly, some of these things will seem like you're a master of the obvious, you know. I knew that, but I wasn't doing it. Those are the best things, aren't they, Richard? You know, gosh, yeah. You know, I knew that. I just needed to be told one more time. But when you mix that with some new stuff, you get something really, really special. So the first thing is kind of understanding a little bit about your company. I mean, who are we? What do we do? For who do we service in what area? Kind of a little introspective stuff because, you know, we want to attract more people from our target market than people in general. You know, so if we're going to put some little love juice out there for somebody out there, who is that somebody, right? The next component is also about who do we have on my team? You know, I mean, I've got my org chart over here, and I've got LinkedIn over here. Wow, there's something we could do with that to find out who's on LinkedIn and to what level. Do they even show that they're employees on LinkedIn now? That's very often that's not the case. They haven't updated their resume because they still look like they're looking for a job and they work for you. So turning the ship around a little bit in some cases, and in the other cases you've got your folks who really get it. You know, these are your folks on the team that are knocking it out, and they can share what they know and their enthusiasm with the folks that kind of use LinkedIn to get their job, but don't use it while they're there. Mm-hmm. And you know, sales reps are less guilty about that than some people. You know, revenue producers, the skills you learn to find your job are very good on the job. And corralling those peoples together into an army of brand ambassadors is kind of the topic that we thought your audience might really enjoy.
Yes, no question. And I neglected to mention there at the beginning, but before we get too deep into this, if you have a question, there is a chat box right next to the screen on the web page. If you're looking at the screen over on the right-hand side, you have a question for me or Mike, just stick it in there, and as time permits, we'll get to that. If we don't, we'll answer them through email if you'll leave us that information as well. So, sorry, Mike, didn't mean to jump in there, but
no, that's.
Why don't you? I know you're all over LinkedIn all the time. why don't you go real quickly before we jump into the meat of the topic? Real quickly, talk about some very important changes that are going to be happening with LinkedIn here in just a couple of weeks.
Well, the biggest change, and frankly, not everyone can understand why these changes are happening. Some things seem kind of obvious. Like, of course they're going to do that. Of course they're going to. The master of the obvious principle. And then LinkedIn comes and does something like this. They've been pushing these company pages, as a really big central point. Your website on LinkedIn. Everyone needs to have a company page who's got a company with a website and all, and the employees need to point to it. And one of the big features of it has been something called a product or services page. It's a free landing page on LinkedIn that people can recommend and like and share and do all kinds of things with. And they're pulling them. You spend all this time getting recommendations and getting people to like and share and do all these things, and then all of a sudden they decide, no, we're not going to do that anymore. I'm going to do something else now. So coming up very soon in the next few weeks, next few days, perhaps, they roll these things out, is the company product and service pages that you spent all this time on are going to be gone. They're just going to be gone one day. And their replacement, for the most part, that the replacement for it is something called a showcase page. Okay, so showcases is where you create a community around something, as opposed to just listing products and services. So wouldn't you think there'd be a migration utility, since they kind of do the same thing?
Well, you'd think so. There's no question. It'd certainly be easy.
Yeah, they got programmers there, and they had 100, and how many billions of dollars do they have to kind of throw around to solve these problems? That the anyhow, so let's see. Good. In doing that, essentially, you're going to be a master of copy and paste. Okay, okay. There's the analog word processor, copy and paste. You got to go back to old school stuff. So copy the stuff you have and put it over here. Copy it and put it over here. But you're going to lose these recommendations, and boy, they're golden. So this is what I recommend you do. This is real hot, tippy stuff here. Okay, copy with a Control-C, Control-V sort of the text of those comments, of those recommendations, right? So you've got them, so you can kind of use them in things going forward. But take a screenshot, cut out that piece of the screen, and now you've got a graphic of that recommendation that you can use as well. Because you're not going to have that recommendation to take a graphic of or to copy and paste in a week or two. So grab this stuff now, because you can put this up and use it elsewhere, and you have all kinds of multi-purpose for stuff like that you're just not going to have that option in a little bit. Showcase pages will evolve and develop into much more than they are, but they're just moving things from one to another. We'll have to see. The community doesn't like this. No one was asking for this. Isn't it great when they're asking for something and you get it, as opposed to, we're just not going to do that anymore. Just not going to do that.
Right. No, it's going to be a hassle. There's no question about it. But LinkedIn is such an important tool. You're just going to have to navigate your way through it. Well, let's jump into turning your team into LinkedIn brand ambassadors. Now, why don't you explain a little bit? You and I have talked about this, but explain a little bit for those that are watching and listening, exactly what you mean by how a team can become a LinkedIn brand ambassador.
Well, let's break down the organization a little bit first. So the team, I want to define the team. Okay, so if we define the team as everyone in the company, that's a little bit too broad. There's people down on the shipping and receiving dock down there that just aren't going to be LinkedIn people. They're just not going to be. But you've got your external-facing people, your sales reps and marketing people and all those kind of folks. Well, they are. And those folks are already on LinkedIn. They might have found their job or got employed because of LinkedIn and all. And they're the folks that really the public wants to see and wants to interact with. So in this environment, they're pretty easy to find as well. They're not the hidden folks that kind of come and go. These are high-profile people. So start with your org chart of these key external-facing people and look them up on LinkedIn. Just do a little inventory. We like to do profile scoring. We have a 100-point scale, and I can tell you, Richard, you're in the 80s.
Oh,
You're
well,
really up there.
bad, I guess.
You're really up there. I won't even say that I'm so high because my profile is a running stockpile of parts and pieces and things in trial. I'm not a model. I'm a 2017 car that who knows if that's going to come out or not.
Mm-hmm.
But folks like yourself and folks like other folks we work with, they've got this regimented sort of way in their profile, and the best folks out there on these teams have got it down the most. Well, we take the best practices and then try to rubber stamp those with the other employees. Here's a really good way to describe the company with great words and taglines and stuff. You know, you should use it too, and you should use it too, and you should, and you should. And there's ways to optimize that and to automate it a little bit by having what's called a template. So here's the stuff you should put in your profile that corporate really likes a lot, and why don't you copy this and put it there, and copy this and put it there, and here's some websites you might consider putting on your profile as well, and here's a nice little tag that you might put on that website so it doesn't just say company website.
Right.
And here's a screenshot that shows you how to do it, by the way, in case you really need idiot mittens in the middle of winter. You know, couldn't find my other glove. Oh, it's still here. It just got up my sleeve a little bit. You know, that's why they make idiot mittens in Minnesota. And we discovered actually that you want to dumb things down so they're really simple and copy, paste, follow the pictures, because sales reps, if they get a little bit frustrated, can just say, you know what, I'll do it later. Just not going to do it now. And the adoption curve goes down when you just don't make it as simple and easy as possible. So the process of how to put this language up there and all, that's something that marketing typically does. Very often we help marketing do that. That's part of the services that we provide. So the next step is, so you've got this great document called a template that the employees can copy paste from with instructions. How about a class to show them how to do it, to inspire them, to tell them why, and let them really get going, and maybe even let them get started with a little bit of lab time in the class. We're going to take 10 minutes for you to do that stuff. I just showed you. That's what we do, and that's kind of how we work it with our clients that have teams of salespeople, for example. But not all the sales reps get to go. I mean, not everyone in the company gets to go to those trainings. They don't shut the whole company down. You know, customer service is still answering calls during that class. So and a lot of folks like to do some of these things maybe in a webinar or record a webinar at Google Hangout or something, so that people can access it when they need to or want to in their fuzzy slippers at night. Right, Richard?
Right.
You got your fuzzy slippers? You know, I wear my Merrills. They're my fuzzy slippers. Got them on now.
Well, they're in Minnesota. You probably need to wear them a lot more than I do here in Nashville.
Yeah, we wear hiking boots and things like that. Sorels, you know, all kinds of stuff. It's been a terrible year. Good year for getting social media work done.
Yeah.
You don't go outside.
80 degrees here in Nashville today, so you'll probably into that. I saw snow in your background earlier.
Yeah. You know, the parking lots at the big malls and stuff, it's 3 stories tall. The snow is 3 stories tall. They put top loaders on top of top loaders.
Yeah, that's
to
incredible.
get up there.
That's incredible. Well, let me ask you this, because we only got a half hour here, and I want to make sure that we were able to get through all the pieces. When you're working with a company to try to get this all together, get these LinkedIn messages and these profiles together and moving in the same direction, tell us 2 or 3 areas that you find are the most egregiously abused or completely out of whack. And if if somebody's listening today, where could they go and start looking at profiles in their company and maybe have an immediate impact in kind of getting everybody on the same page?
Now, I'm going to get real basic and use a term that's been overused a little bit. It's called above the fold. Right? Okay. You know, if you're focusing on the bottom out there first, you do need to focus on it. In fact, we have a principle called those shoes from the Eagles. You know, those shoes. You can't be wearing those shoes. But that's a different part of the profile, actually. The stuff above the top that you see without scrolling is what to focus on. And most people miss the fact that it should be in a first-person greeting sort of mode, like, welcome to my profile. Here's my living room. You know, welcome to my place. I took you for a little tour of my studio, like I saw some of your studio. You know, don't you feel like you know somebody better if you've seen a little bit more about them?
Sure.
In your summary, you kind of want people to kind of feel like they get to know you a little bit. And then provide a phone number and an email address if they fit this sort of mold that you've painted out there. That's the most egregious thing, is just stuff that was taken from over here, copied, and just put in there and forgotten. Never went back. You know, it sounds like an article that somebody wrote about you that frankly wasn't written well in the first place.
Now, I know this is an area that hasn't really been touched on a lot, because you and I were talking about this earlier. But how do I, as a corporate leader, approach the people on my team? Say I'm the senior vice president of sales for a health information management company, and I want to make sure all of the people on my team. I might have 4 people. I might have 30, 50, 60 people on my team. How rigidly, or how much authority do I have as the employer to tell them this is the message that you have to put on your page to describe our organization? Have you run into that, or has that come up anywhere?
Sure, it does. I mean, has your boss ever told you to email this invite to our corporate event out to your to your customers? Ever told you to email something out, or to go do something? Of course they do. This isn't much different. As a rule of employment, you're going to use Salesforce.com, you're going to use LinkedIn, you're going to use Google, you're going to use Outlook. These are the tools we use, and the fact that you own the tool that you brought, like bringing your own laptop to the office, it's still going to do office work on that laptop, even if it's your laptop and it goes home at night. What we're talking about is the root of a social media policy that the company has that says this is okay, this is not. People in this role out here might be expected to do more. If you're a revenue producer, if you're a type 172 or a 173, however we define that, you have extra duties. Your duties involve liking and sharing and inviting and using the tools that our company has chosen as strategic, including the CRM system, including whatever else. You have that kind of thing, and I'll tell you, it's a lot easier for management to get the stick out with folks that are not making their numbers than it is with guys that are knocking it out, because they got their system, and frankly, they're probably got their system and they're using LinkedIn effectively. That's how they got to that point. They're not that hard to pull over. And if you can take someone who's making $250,000 a year, really knocking it out, and make their life easier, make it easier to make that $250,000, or not inspire them with, you need more money, but gosh, imagine how the hours you could save if you could just have more customers coming to you instead of going to find them.
Yeah, no question, no question. Who do you find within an organization, Mike, is best suited to kind of organize this? And let's say either they wanted to come and use your company to put this together, or they at least want to get everybody to say the same thing about the company that they work for. Who in the organization is best to kind of marshal that and push it through?
It's usually an executive in sales management who really gets it. And they might have been brought on board recently because they get it too. It's not necessarily someone who's been there a long time and known this a long time. They went outside the organization for some fresh blood. The sales manager retired or went to vice president now, but it's that sales management VP of sales area, and it's usually where they've got a relationship with marketing over here. They're doing campaigns with marketing. Marketing's bringing leads over to sales, and this guy out here who's parsing those leads out, frankly, he tends to know a little bit more than the average bear about LinkedIn and is a little more enthusiastic for the things we're talking about here.
Sure. If you think about the different areas of the LinkedIn profile, and I know your organization is involved in much more than just profiles, but for most people, that's their real connection with LinkedIn, is their profile. How often should somebody be thinking about updating that profile?
Well, after you get it all going, there's this kind of big activity, and then you get kind of down to this little maintenance thing. You like that little maintenance thing, kind of right around there. I update my profile about every couple weeks or so. There's something that I see in someone else's profile that I go, I want to use that idea. That's a great word, or that's really neat how that works, or I really should update my recommendations, or you get an idea, you see something someone else is doing. And so many of the ideas that you see happening out there involve doing something with your profile. You got to do a little this or that or something. It's kind of like the mothership of it all. But in terms of doing major surgery and all, unless there's a life-changing event or something like that, I don't go back that often, and I don't think you need to. Once you get it really built, spend your time building your network and spend your time using it. Don't obsess with the profile after you get it going. I know people can always be working on their profile, and it's never good enough, but that's not right.
Would you maybe talk about how this whole idea of creating the concise message within social media, and let's just use social media broadly. I know we're talking mostly about LinkedIn here, but what is the best way for a company to approach that if they're bringing new people into the organization? How is this integrated in the onboarding process?
Well, the things we just described work really well for onboarding. If you think about it, this profile template sort of thing could be part of that. Hey, day 2, on the job. As you're filling out your healthcare stuff, you're updating your LinkedIn profile to put this company on your profile, to put this job title that we've approved on your profile, to put these words that we recommend for you, to put these URLs. It's just kind of like, sorting your pencils out and getting your office ready and your desk going. It's part of that. And if you record these things in webinars, that's what's so wonderful, is that people just love these little webinars because they are on demand, on demand, on demand. Workshop, can you imagine how fun a workshop is with an instructor like this pounding out? But if you can't get in the workshop, or if you forgot something, it's nice to have kind of that combination of the live concert and the DVD afterwards to appreciate the rest of the show.
Tell us about some of the organizations you've worked with and how they have successfully integrated this. What are some of the mechanics that they went through to get everybody on the same page with respect to the branding message they're sending out in LinkedIn?
Sure. Well, let me tell you about one of my favorite customers, recent one this year, the Marlin Company. The Marlin Company makes digital signage, like picture a 32-inch TV or a 50 whatever wankety-wank TV in your lobby with all that feeds of all that stuff. Have you seen those before? You see them everywhere. And there's one in the break room. There's one all over the company. All the branches have it. It's a way to disseminate information to customers and to employees. And they had a conference in Las Vegas, and I came in to train their team in Vegas. We created a profile template ahead of time for them, wrote some profiles for them, actually, some of the executives. And then I'm in front of this group 2 times of 2 hours. It was hard, 4 hours of, imagine keeping my pace up. My voice is a little hard after 4 hours of that. But we did, and I really got to know them really, really well. And there's natural leaders. There's like these folks that just afterward just couldn't wait to talk to me because they're the ones who get it. And they're the ones that other people look up to at the company. And that, if I had something, you've got natural leaders within your group, or people that want to step up and lead. If you just fed them a little bit of knowledge, they just run with it. If you just got them a good LinkedIn book, they could just run with it and be jumping with it. So sorting those folks out was one of the big aha moments for me, is that they seek me out, and all of a sudden they're the ones telling other people about these successes they've had.
Real quickly, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but how many people were they trying to get involved in this? How many people in the organization?
There were 150 at the conference, and 60 were in my session. So half of the folks who came to the conference were in my session. Half of them had quotas.
No, okay.
2 sessions of 30. That's a good size room, 30 or 40. If you've got people on keyboards like that, it's hard beyond 50 in a room to really manage it. And when you've got people who can't get onto Wi-Fi and they can't remember their password and where's the power plug, I mean, things just go exponential.
Yeah, no question.
Yep. So that's the group, and we worked with the marketing folks and the vice president of sales. I just had a call last week for a half an hour with the CEO of the company, and he's all over me to kind of come up with ideas to get them to implement things more, because people go back to their office and they sometimes forget. They go right back to where they were, and it doesn't matter whether you were talking about chocolate cake, they go back to right where they were, because they pick up the pile of papers that they left when they went. So you've got to have things ongoing, the accountability piece ongoing, And we're engineering new ongoing accountability buddy system. For example, the profile scoring afterwards, the contest with the leaderboard and the certificates of completion and scoring and grand prize and all. That's what we're engineering for them right now.
If an organization goes through this process, Mike, how do you measure the results for the effort or the money that was invested in doing this? How do you measure the results of that?
Well, it's very hard to get analytical results that are like are part of their pipeline sales report, so the deals that come in get tagged with this, and that report comes out, and they share it with you. Let me show you my pipeline data and all this sort of stuff. Internally, what we can gauge success in one case is, did people implement the stuff that they learned, and we can go profile score with them. And find whether they implemented the things that they learned. So at least they got to like second base of it. The statistics that matter the most are traffic. How many more people found me, and that's one. How many more people found me, and then how many more people called. So when you're asking people, how did you find me, and they say LinkedIn, then you go, aha, ka-ching, there we go. But it's an analog way. There isn't a digital way to fingerprint that it came back through that way, unless you've got people filling out forms and such. Drive people to a form, and there's a checkbox on the form. There you go. And in conversations, but that information getting to a numerical thing is kind of hard. 27% of our business is now because of this new program that we had.
Right.
It's suspect data at best.
Yeah. No question. Well, we're getting close to the end of this, Mike. How would somebody get in touch with you if they wanted to talk to you more about helping them go through this process?
Well, integratedalliances.com is our website. Integratedalliances.com. It can all start there. We've got some really great free things there, info guides and even free training links and all. And there's a little form they can fill out that says, hey, call me, reach out to me. I'd like to, spend some time with you. I'll do a half-an-hour call with anybody who's got a need and would like to discuss things. Heck, I love meeting people. I don't know if you could tell or not. And we usually find some ways that there's somebody I know, or something that I know, or something that you should avoid that makes that call worthwhile.
All right. Well, we're about to finish up here. I want to thank you, Mike, for being a part of our broadcast today, and I want to let everybody know, if you're on the page where you're watching the broadcast, you might need to refresh the page, but there's a link that says "Get More Info Here," and Mike has a really nice handout or special report in many ways that you can download if you want to access that. It's called the LinkedIn Profile Info Guide. I think we're out of time. We don't have enough time to show it, Mike. Just real quick, tell them a little bit about what they're going to get in that info guide.
Well, it's a real quick hit. I wrote a 188-page book on how to do something that I can show you in 4 pages how to do it. How's that? Every quick little, minute little tip, every section of your profile you need to know, with examples and copy and paste stuff that you can use.
Great. All right. So if you'll click on that link, get more info here, you can get that. It's a free download type of thing, and certainly you'll get more information from Mike if you want it. You know how to get a hold of him. His bio is on our page as well, where you're watching. Just click on that, and you'll learn more about him there. And Mike, I want to say thank you very much for being a part of the broadcast today, and let's plan to have you back and dig into some of these elements a little more deeper sometime in the future. Is that good for you?
Fun, Richard. I enjoy working with you.
All right, great. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll catch you next time on another broadcast with information you can use anytime, any day. Talk to you soon.